improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. Good morning, everyone. I, Siddharth Singh, student manager, Balaji Institute of Telecom and Management, feel privileged to introduce speaker, Mrs. Ekta Relan, ma'am. Ma'am has done her BCom from Nasi Munji College and her MBA from Mumbai University in marketing. After completing her formal education, ma'am has worked with Lowe India, Unilever as regional marketing manager and global brand manager for Fair and Lovely. Then she worked with Sapin Nitro as a planning director, and she's currently employed as executive vice president and planning head of Mullen Lintas. She has domain expertise in advertising, brand development, consumer insight, digital marketing, and product launch. Without making further ado, I would request ma'am to take the center stage and bless us with the kind words. Thank you.
Yeah. So I would like to, first of all, thank the directors, Bala sir, giving me an opportunity to come here. It feels extremely good to come to any campus again and just to feel this energy, right? So you have to keep throwing that back to me. Yeah, you have to make my trip worthwhile. Yeah, you guys are with me? Yeah. Super. Okay, so we are here to talk about future, right? Now, isn't it kind of strange that me, a 40-year-old, is talking about future? It should be you guys, right? You guys are the future. So what's cooking in your head? You should be telling me what are you going to bring to this world. So that is strange, but nonetheless, we'll still make it worthwhile. I will talk about today, and I will talk about things that I have experienced today, the new dimensions that I'm picking up today, which I think will be extremely relevant in keeping in mind in what's coming up in future and how to make yourself extremely relevant for the future. Yeah? Because I just got a glimpse of the previous sort of talk, and I did hear about being adaptable, because I think you guys must have spoken about rules are going to any which ways change. So learn to learn, unlearn, relearn, all of that is still going to be the truth of it. Yeah? So the best we can do is to pick some things out, connect those dots, and to just see what are the areas, what are the opportunities that we can really grab to make whatever we are doing interesting and relevant for people. Yeah? What do I really mean by that? So let me first sort of start with big macro changes, right? So these are the big macro changes happening. Yeah? Demographics, technology, environment. Yeah? You guys are reading a lot about it. You guys are studying a lot about it. Anything else you want to add here? Anything else do you think we should add here as big macro changes, the super changes? Socio-culture. Globalization. Environment is already there. Political. Political is not a macro change. It keeps coming again and again. It's a cyclical thing. Legal. Lifestyle. Okay, let me talk about these are macro changes which are happening around us. Like in demographics, it's about how the average age of the nation is changing. Environment is about what's happening around us in terms of sort of carbon footprint and all the conversations around it. Technology, we all know. So a similar big change that's happening around us. Bala sir was telling me that there are 50% of students here are girls. Yeah? When I was in my B school, we were just 10%. Yeah? So I think the big change that's happening here is diversity. And it's changing in institutes, it's changing at our homes, it's changing in society, but more importantly, it's changing at our workplace. Yeah? And diversity is not just about gender. It is about the different places people are coming from. It's about your sexual orientation, you're getting different kinds of people. It's about the various backgrounds that's coming into workplace, yeah? So there is that big change of diversity that's happening around us. In fact, just yesterday's Times of India, I read something interesting that there is an official position being created in various organizations, and the position is called as a Chief Diversity Officer. And the role of that person is just to make sure that he is getting people from various sort of backgrounds, various genders into the organization. And because that diversity, see, today it's no longer about you need to get it because that's the right thing to do. Today it's more about you need to do it because that people are seeing is adding more value to business. Yeah? So that's the big change. But we are not going to talk about these big changes. Yeah? Because I think you guys are reading enough, you'll hear enough about these big changes. What we will talk about is how to leverage these changes as opportunities. Yeah? And what I mean about that is not about staying relevant. Because staying relevant is still being defensive. Yeah? I need to be relevant and therefore I need to do these things. It's about staying ahead. Yeah? How do I use some of these things? What are the opportunities that these things are giving me so that I'm ahead of everyone else and I'm the one creating business value out of these things? Yeah? So it's more about grabbing opportunities. And there are 5 things that I'd like to talk about here as to what are the various ways in which we should think. What are the various 5 approaches that we can really look at in the days to come in whatever you do. So there might be some of you who would want to create something interesting for people. Yeah? It could be a product or it could be a service. You want to create something meaningful that's liked by someone out there. There might be some of you who are there to sell that interesting thing that someone else has created, right? And there might be some who would do both. Now, no matter where you belong, yeah, how do you really, what are the new things that you should think about in doing either one of that, yeah? So that's what are the 5 things that we will talk about. Now, why do I call them as vowels? Yeah? Because it's easy to remember. The 5 things that I have is A, E, I, O, U. They start from that. So it's the good old way of learning things, creating acronyms, and remembering them. So it's that, yeah? Okay, I was just joking. So it is that. But it's also because why I decided to call them as vowels is a vowel is a sound that's an open sound. There's no friction, yeah? Your lips don't need to come together. A, E, I, O, U, right? There's no friction. And I thought it's interesting that because these things that I'm talking about are the things that you should, in a very frictionless, seamless way, organic way, it should be in your system when you're thinking about any of these things, creating product, selling product, or doing both. Creating a service, selling a service, or doing both, yeah? And it could be anything. It could be a tech product, it could be a financial service, anything. But these are the things that you need to keep in mind in a very seamless, organic way. So that's why. Now, what are those 5 sort of things? Yeah? So the first thing is attention. Yeah? In 2000 was about 12 seconds. I just recently picked up a study by Microsoft which says that the attention span today is 6 seconds. Yeah? So you need to make sense to that guy, to your audience who you're talking to in just 6 seconds. Yeah? It's not like the battle for attention wasn't there. Earlier, a person could change the remote channel. See, I'm going to use a lot of advertising references because I belong from that industry. But whatever I'm saying is relevant for anything, for any product. Because advertising or the communication is just a reflection of what you have created. So you have to make sense to that person in a very short attention span. Earlier, that person could change the remote. Today, it's become even more dynamic. He can skip your ad, he can shut the window, and do many things. Yeah. So attention is an extremely important thing that you need to care for. You need to see what's your elevator speech. How can you get somebody to listen to you in that short period of time, whether it's your product speech or whether it's your advertising. Yeah? You must have read that spending on the digital video advertising has increased 60%. Yeah? These are the various data that's thrown at us, and we feel like digital advertising is cool. But do you also know that the number of ad blockers have also doubled? Yeah? So which actually means that your job is got even more tougher in trying to get people's attention. Yeah? Another one, anyone would like to take a go at this, which is how many messages does living in a city gets exposed to? How many messages in a day? So, sorry? Thousands. I think 1,500 to 2,000. So this is when you're passing by on a hoarding. It could be on your Facebook. It could be on your Insta. And if you kind of total the various messages that has been exposed to you in a day, they're about 1,500 to 2,000. Yeah? How will you be relevant to that person? Why should he listen to you and why should he remember your message in those 2,000 messages? Is the question that you need to ask yourself. Yeah? So what do you do? Because what we really need is an unfair share of attention. Yeah? You need to fight all that clutter. Make sure that what you've told him in those 2,000 messages is the one that's getting him to think, is the one which is driving conversations. Yeah? So always ask what you're creating or the way you're selling. Am I going to grab attention? How will you grab attention? You need to think disruptive. Yeah? You need to think like a challenger. And by challenger, what I mean is, I know you guys must have studied about the number 2 being the challenger brand and so on. But it's not that. Challenger is the spirit. Yeah? Challenger is the way of relooking at things and coming up with something that makes a sense to people and that gets registered in their head. So that's challenger thinking. There was also an interesting study that was done about new product launches, right? A lot of you might have aspirations to create products, to create startups, or to create something new. Now, is that going to be successful? 8 out of 10 of those fail. Yeah? And what is it that makes them successful? Are the ones which are talked about. So again, ask yourself that what I'm creating, will it be interesting to go beyond 6 seconds? Will it be interesting for him to talk about that to someone else when he meets his friend? So how do you create conversations? How are you going to be talked about? So that is the one big evaluation criteria that you should have. Yeah? Now this is really the challenging part, which is attention. Now the next 4 things that I'm going to talk about are the things which will help us solve for this problem. Yeah? And that leads me to my next thing, which is usage. Yeah? What do I mean by that? There are 2 sets of brands here. There are brands on your right-hand side, and there are brands on your left-hand side. Can you tell me the difference between these 2 sets of brands? They are competitors, that's the truth, but what is the difference between these two?
The left-hand side brands have done something special in their segment. So both sides are same similar segment. The left-hand side brands have done something special to make themselves proportion.
Right.
Today is
Both solve the same purpose, but approach is different.
Approach is different. Okay.
Like on the right side, these are the traditional giant in their space.
Right.
While on the right hand side, they are startups. They came into the market and they took the market. For example, Gillette Dollar Shave Club, it came into the market with a very exciting YouTube ad, and they are selling razors for just $1. Which is far way less cheaper than Gillette, and they are making a good entry into the market.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I'm going to push that question further. So what I heard from you guys, somebody said that these are the brands on the left side are the ones which have done something special. Yeah. Then there's someone here who said that they've approached things differently. Here he said that they've started with digital and Dollar Shave example that he shared. So what is that special that they've done? Advertisement quality. What is the approach? What is their different approach? We understand that these are the brands that are onto something. We understand that what they're doing is different. We understand that what they're doing is special. What we also understand that they are making a mark. Yeah? Now, what we need to understand, what is it that's special? How is their approach different? And once we get that, you guys will be able to then think like that, right? So what is it that makes them different? Innovation. Hold on to that thought. Innovation comes later. What comes before innovation? Huh? Targeting, segmentation, consumer engagement. Okay, all of this is right, but let me tell you the fundamental core of how they approach things differently. All these things that you spoke about is correct, they are means. But what is their philosophy of how they approach things differently? Your right-hand side brands are the ones which are purchase brands. Yeah? Their focus is on how to get a person to buy your product. Whereas these brands, which is the left-hand side brands, they focus their energies. They focus their whole sort of time and effort in understanding how people use brands. Yeah? And that's consumer behavior. They focus on getting a person to use a product more. If a person begins to use a product more, it will automatically sell. Yeah? So like I was saying, they create the demand to buy the product. They are the guys who are creating the demand to use the product. These are the guys who are thinking about proposition. What benefit should I claim? Yeah? Is it about 20% whiter? Is it about what should I really say that actually gets into the mind of the consumer? That's fine. But these are the guys who are thinking about how should I get into the life of the person. Now think about the Dollar Shave example you gave me. Are you seeing the difference? Gillette wants you to buy. Dollar Shave realizes that you need a new razor, a new blade, very frequently, every day. That's how shaving works. So it has created a subscription model so that you shave more, they give you the product at their home. So that is how they are differentiating, because they are getting into how shaving is done. What's the usage of their product? What is the role, therefore, I can play in a person's life, right? And not just the mind. That's really how they approach things differently. Yeah? All the changes that we spoke about, all the macro changes, The left-hand side brands are the ones who are leveraging those macro changes. Tesla, environment, right? Technology. So all these left-hand side brands are the ones, Red Bull, demographic, diversity. They are the brands who are leveraging those macro changes well and trying to understand how your product is used. So focus on that. Interestingly, there was a research done amongst 5,000 people. There were various attributes. All the right-hand side brands, somebody said that they are big giants and have been around for a while. That's right, they're legacy brands, and they are the brands people look up to. But all the left-hand side brands, they were rated high on makes my life easier. Yeah? Now, makes your life easy attribute is the one which generates most value. Airbnb. Dollar Shave. Makes my life easier. So think on those lines, right? Let me give you another example, Sephora. If you go to a departmental store of, say, Shoppers Stop or any of big chains, and if you go to their makeup level, their focus is on they giving you a professional makeup and giving you samples, yeah? Their focus is on getting you to buy the product. Versus what Sephora does, Sephora is giving you so many instructions, so many tools, so many videos, so much help, so that it makes the woman confident to use the makeup herself. Yeah? Sephora is focused on driving usage. If people are confident of applying an eyeshadow, they will buy more eyeshadows. So that's really the difference in how these two brands operate. Yeah? So this is L'Oreal versus Sephora. This is Shoppers Stop versus Sephora. Sephora is doing that thing differently. Yeah? Also another thing that they do differently, which is on the same lines. The right-hand side brand, because their focus is on getting you to buy, they're focusing on promotions, they're focusing on propositions, they're focusing on discounts. Yeah, all the pre-purchase moments. The right-hand side these brands, the left-hand side brands, are the ones who focus on the post-purchase moments. Yeah, they focus on advocacy. They focus on the experiences people are having with the products that they have sold. They focus on the conversations that those products are generating. It's the post-purchase moments, if you focus on, it will drive usage, it will drive more people to buy that. Let me give you two examples of that. Yeah? How many people, this is Pune, how many people ride a bike? Yeah? So many of you. So what does Ari do? Ari is not selling a bike. Ari is selling those mountain rides. Whether you take them or not doesn't matter. But that's the aspiration that they are creating. They are focusing on their club. If you go to their store, it's not just the bikes there. There are pictures of those rides. There are accessories. So they are selling those post-purchase moments. Yeah? And that creates clubs, that creates community, that creates advocacy. The right-hand side, care for, what am I telling the customer? The left-hand side, care for what the customers are talking to each other. Anybody's had an Airbnb experience here? Great. So Airbnb, Hilton would focus on what am I telling the customer. Airbnb's energy, if you just ever go on their website and look at their listings, is all on what the host and the guest, they are talking to each other. It's not about what I am telling to the customer, it's about what the customers are talking to each other, the host and the guest. So that's how they think things differently. That's the difference about whether your mindset is purchase or whether your mindset is usage. Yeah? The same study that I spoke about, from that study it came out that on this side of the brands, people are more loyal to the brands. They are more likely to go back and buy those same brands again. And they are also more likely to pay premium for these brands. Yeah? So usage, yeah? Attention, usage. Now let's go on to the third one, But before that, do you guys agree? Are you being able to see what's special and what's different? Is that making sense? Okay. So, somebody spoke about innovation. Yeah? Yes, very important. And innovation is not just about technology. Innovation is about anything, about framing and reframing things in a way that you find a better or an easier way to do that same thing. Innovation could be how you want to reach to a person. It could be technology. It could be about how do you innovate your marketing. It could be anything. Innovation is a spirit that you need to have no matter what you are doing tomorrow. Yeah? We spoke about this great value about makes your life easier. Yeah? That needs innovative thinking. Dollar Shave example that he gave needs an innovative way of thinking how to reach people. Their subscription model is innovation. Yeah? Innovation, the ability to innovate is directly related, directly proportionate to your ability to understand usage. Yeah? Your usage behavior. I'm sure a lot of you must be studying consumer behavior. Yeah? So this is how you're going to use that when you get out in the market. Yeah? So this is directly related. Let me give you an example. Netflix. I'm guessing everyone's watching Netflix now? Yeah? Now, what is the interesting thing Netflix does? Their CEO has publicly said, and what he's saying, that they're not competing with any other content provider. They are competing with sleep. Yeah? That is why they have a very innovative way. The innovation that the way they've used is to create, of course, a video on demand model, but more than that, the thing that is at the center of Netflix office, the thing that is creating all the chatter within the Netflix office is about binge watching. Yeah? They've understood how people consume content, and therefore they are creating content on basis of that. Yeah? The kind of research that they do on usage, I don't know if that scale is clear, but basically what they've really done is they've mapped various genres. Yeah? If you see on the right-hand side there, you have thrillers and horror. Sacred Games, Gaul? Yeah? Thriller and horror, their research tells them is the one that people binge more, that you watch beyond 2 episodes, 3 episodes, you want to watch them. Yeah? They're watching beyond 2 hours. On the left-hand side one are your sort of rom-coms, comedies, political dramas. They are the ones that people will snack. You will watch them, you will watch Friends, and you will switch it off. Yeah? So they've done that research. So while we don't understand, but the reason why they are in India in content creation, why are they focusing on certain genres, is because they know binge watching will happen with those genres. Yeah? So that is the level of understanding of usage that you need to have. Yeah? Interesting, isn't it? Okay. Staying relevant is why you need innovation. Yeah? What will happen if you don't innovate? What will happen if you're not relevant? You will end up becoming Kodak. Yeah? The brand that introduced photography to us is no longer relevant because they didn't innovate when digital imaging happens. So what's the new Kodak moment? The new Kodak moment is when you see someone not anymore being relevant. Yeah, because you failed to innovate with time. Whereas if you are relevant and if you have sort of leveraged the power of innovation, then you become Lego. Lego is a brand that was basic blocks, right? A toy brand that could have soon become redundant with video games and so on, with what's happening in the entertainment industry, in toys industry with children. But no, they found different ways to innovate, different ways to stay relevant. So first thing that they did is they completely took on popular culture. So any new movie, yeah, Star Wars, they will have a Star Wars Lego box. Yeah, Lego movies they've created. They have an amusement park, Legoland. They have Lego robotics engineering classes for children. Everything around their vision, around their purpose, which states that inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. Yeah, so that's how Lego continues to be relevant. Yeah, so that was really the I, which is the innovation. Now we'll go to something very interesting, which is opinion. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, since I am from advertising, I cannot have a talk without showing you some ads, right? So I'm going to show you 3 films, 3 ads that my agency has done over a period of time. Just watch that and tell me what's the common thing across all 3 of them.
The day she can make friends with who she wants. The day she expresses herself the way she wants. The day she does whatever she wants. The day she wears. The day she goes wherever she wants.
This was a film that was released just for one day on last year's Independence Day. Okay, guys, this is not just pure entertainment. There's a question after this, right? Keep in mind that.
अलार्म अभी बजा नहीं. किसान अभी मरा नहीं. अभी ये ब्रिज गिरा नहीं. खिलाड़ी अभी हारा नहीं. और अभी यहाँ रेप हुआ नहीं. ब्रिज गिरने दो, किसान को आत्महत्या करने दो, मेडल हारने दो और रेप होने तो दो. अलार्म थोड़ा बजने तो दो. अलार्म बजे कब हम उठेंगे? फिर काफी काम है हमें. कैंडल मार्च यहाँ अलार्म बजा नहीं। अगला अलार्म बजने से पहले
जागो 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 रे।
टाटा टी।
Number 1 is very big. Number 2 is big. देख क्या रे, तूने मारा इसको, तुझे अब भी देखता हूँ। मारता है अभी चले। सॉरी बोल। सॉरी बोल रहे।
दाग लगने से अगर कुछ अच्छा होता है तो दाग अच्छे हैं ना। सर्फ एक्सेल, दाग अच्छे हैं।
वापस नहीं करना। नंबर
Sorry? Social message. In daag अच्छे हैं, what is the social message? Emotional connection.
Ma'am, are we really independent? We need to awake.
Sorry?
Ma'am, are we really independent? We need to awake in all the 3 ads.
That is the message they are saying, but I'm asking what is the common thing across all 3 ads?
Ma'am, that is only we need to be awake.
Be awake,
Yeah.
okay? Okay? Helping nature, okay? Huh? Emotional connect, okay?
Ma'am, in the left, right. Ma'am, yeah. So, ma'am, in all 3 ads, what I seen common things are the problems were there in each advertisements, but the advertiser saw something new in it. The new perspective was advertised in it. So, how we see problem, the change happening in the world, that was projected.
Change happening in the world.
Ma'am, they have actually shown something negative first to give a solution of a positive thing about it.
Okay. This particular thing that we are talking about is the O, which is the opinion. Yeah? So I thought the answer was lying there. All these 3 ads, they're not talking about what is the point of product difference. It's not talking about a benefit. What they are talking about is a point of view. What is their view, their opinion that they are coming with in that category. In daag अच्छे हैं, while the rest of the worlds were talking about इतने दाग निकाल देता है, उतने दाग निकाल देता है, चाय के दाग निकाल देता है, etc. etc. There was a brand who came with a point of view कि दाग अच्छे हैं for children's growth. Yeah, the Independence Day ad, where we knew on that day on social media, everybody would be celebrating independence. Bajaj Avenger came with the point of view that are we really independent? Yeah, if the 50% of our population, which is the girls, aren't yet feeling safe to ride on the road, to drive by themselves, yeah, are we really safe? That's the point of view that they came with. Yeah, they used the context of that incident that happened around Chandigarh when the girl was driving and she was abused. But they came with a point of view. In the Tata Tea ad, yeah, the whole world, the most common thing that the youth did is activism. Olympics has just got over, and that's when you start talking about did we give them the correct infrastructure. But pre-Olympics, they had no clue about who those players were, who those sports guys were. Had they done anything before the Olympics, then there would be more value, then things could have probably changed. So they came with a point of view that armchair activism is post-activism, do something before. To prevent the unfortunate events to not happen. It's a point of view. Alarm bajne se pehle jago re. Yeah? So that's the thing. And every brand, it's become very important that you state, you put forth what is your point of view in the category. Because the reality is, we did hear that number, right? 1,500 messages in a day. So they don't want another message. They gravitate towards things that create a meaning. Yeah, they gravitate towards things in this whole chaotic world that's making some sense to them. It's really not about where you're coming from. It's not about the state you're coming from. It's not about the religion or the race you belong to. Yeah? What today connects us is the things that we collectively believe. We may be a follower of the same artists, and that brings us together. We like a genre of music, and that's creating community. And similarly, what unites us is what we collectively believe in. Yeah? Plastic. No plastic is what is uniting people together. So similarly, what is the belief that the brand can come with? What is the point of view that the brand can come with? And that shared point of view with its customer is what's going to get you your following. Yeah? Because the reality is that the benefits can be replicated by your competitors. But your point of view will only be yours. Yeah? Your point of view will get you customers for long, forever. Yeah? And once you have a point of view, it sits at the center of everything that you do around that brand. Yeah? Again, Airbnb. Their point of view is don't travel like a tourist, belong to the place, belong to wherever you're going. It's around this belong philosophy, around this point of view, that they've created their whole set of experiences and their whole ecosystem. Yeah? It's their opinion. So that's the piece on opinion. So think about that. Whatever you're creating, whatever you're selling, what is your new opinion, a new point of view that you can bring forward? Because we spoke about Airbnb, that takes me to the last one, which is E, yeah? Ecosystem. Yeah? People love stories. They always loved stories. Yeah? But the reality is today, they want to live in that story. They want to experience that story. Yeah? Game of Thrones, how many of you? Yeah? Do you know the biggest rage out there in US is the Game of Thrones board game? Yeah? So people want to live in that story. There are Game of Thrones themed restaurants that are coming up. Yeah? So that is one way of looking at ecosystem. Another way, companies, they've always had purposes. They've always had missions and visions. Yeah? But it's today that technology is really giving them the whole power to realize their vision. Yeah? It is really the combination of the stories, the content that you're creating, the experiences that you're providing, and the interactions that you create around that, that creates the ecosystem. Product is just the means. Yeah? It's the service, the stories, the innovations, a combination of all of that. Collaborations, bringing things together, connecting the dots. Yeah? I think by now you guys have obviously gauged that Airbnb is my favorite example. And we are going to look at it even from the lens of ecosystem. Yeah? If you look at Airbnb, they have homes. From homes, they have guests and hosts. Yeah? Airbnb is now into experiences. They will give you experiences based as a city, based as a place. They are creating concerts. They will give you experiences with events, cooking, social experiences, everything. They are selling experiences. They are now, if you go to their sort of offering, look at their offering today, they've also become restaurant finder, the Zomato of the various places. Yeah? Again, theme-based restaurants, place-based restaurants. And the last is travel. Yeah? Within travel, they're giving you itineraries, they're curating trips for you, and so on. So there is a whole ecosystem that they have created. Yeah? So look at whatever you are creating, leverage the full power of it through ecosystem. Because if I use a product, then I'm more likely to use the service of the same product. Don't let that person go out. Yeah? Red Bull. What is Red Bull? It's no longer just an energy drink. Yeah? Red Bull is a channel, live TV, all the live sort of telecast of all the events they do. Red Bull organizes events. Red Bull is sponsoring and really developing athletes. They have a whole thing going on social innovations. And now they also have cartoons. Yeah? So they've created this whole ecosystem based on their sort of vision or their purpose, which is giving wings to people and ideas. Yeah? So that's really the ecosystem. So that is really it. The 5 things that you should think about when you go out there in no matter what you're doing is, am I going to grab attention? Am I just creating a product, or does it have a potential to create an ecosystem around it? How can I use innovation in my thinking? What is my opinion in that category? And all of this based on in-depth understanding of usage and behavior. Yeah? So that's really it. Thank you.
Ma'am, does fact-based ads or emotional ad impact the public more?
There's no simple answer to it, right? I think the magic is when you can translate that fact into an emotion. Yeah? Swiggy. Yeah? The most popular ads these days is the Swiggy kind of ads. They have very nicely, by showing that dancing uncle excited about that one laddu that he gets, they have completely transformed a fact into an emotion. So I think that's what you should be looking at.
When we are sharing our point of view, sometimes controversial things can happen in terms of advertising. So how can we counter that or take extra measures so that we can rectify them or remove them pre-broadcast?
Controversy. Yeah? Did you hear that? Did you notice that slide be talked about? Yeah? So controversies are not a bad thing. Controversy can be good. Yeah? Because what it's going to do is it's going to polarize the people who agree with you and people who disagree with you. Yeah? The ones who agree with you will really come for you. The ones who disagree with you will not, which is a good thing, right? So controversies is not a bad thing, except that it's within a certain boundary. Yeah? So I think that Pepsi thing, where they were politically incorrect and it came in a very wrong spirit and a wrong taste, and they had to pull that off and apologize. Now that's a red line. That's a red herring. You don't need to go there. But otherwise, you want to polarize people. You want people to have a point of view on your point of view as well. Yeah? So it's a good thing.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you. As you mentioned that you're from the advertising industry, can you tell us something more about that industry, like how the advertisements already made? And
Sure. I'm glad you asked that question. In all the morning conversations that I've had with people within this institute, their whole idea of advertising was just creative. Yeah? Their whole idea of advertising was walking in whatever clothes you want at whatever time you want. Yeah? I want to correct that. First of all, advertising is made of various streams, and if I were to talk about the big 3 streams, it's business, it's strategy, and it's creative. Yeah, it's not just creative. Creative is the end output. And then within each streams, there are various things evolving. Yeah, if you look at just the planning strategy part, there's social planning, there is comms planning, there's consumer culture, there is so many things happening within that. Within creative, you are a creative technologist, you're a copywriter, you're an art director, there's so much happening out there as well. So it's not just creative. So if you are not that crazy mad guy, you still have a role to play in advertising if you're more culture and consumer cued. or if you're a business guy. So that's one thing to correct. Two is, yes, of course, it's an open culture. It's very fluid. It's very it's a fun place, but the accountability is extremely high. Yeah, so you can do what you want as long as you're delivering, and delivering not just for awards, delivering also market results for the brands that you're handling. Yeah, so does that answer your question? Yeah.
Firstly, really enjoyed your session.
Thank you.
My question is, ma'am, that you mentioned that there has been an increase in terms of customers who are asking for advertisement in the digital format. So, but then is there a decline in the traditional media, such as print media, newspapers, billboards? Is there a decline? And is it a possibility that all these mediums of advertisement in the future will become obsolete?
Okay. I have a question for you. Do you watch Netflix?
Not really.
Okay, so a lot of them do, and I can vouch for that. Yeah. So has that made TV obsolete? No, right? Another question. I've created ads, right? These ads are traditional medium as per your definition. Yeah. But a lot of the people watched it on YouTube. So was that traditional advertising or digital advertising?
I'm asking about the print media, ma'am.
No, nothing is going to replace anything. Nothing is going to get obsolete. Everything will have a role. Those roles are evolving. You in your media mix has to see how you can best leverage the context of that medium. But everything is here to stay. Yeah? They are going to be well connected with each other, but nothing is going to get obsolete. You may, I don't know how you see an advertising on TOI app. Is it traditional or digital? So there are a lot of those things which are kind of coming together. Sorry.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, in one of the slides, there was information that digital advertising is going up by 60%. And on the other side, ad blockers are also growing. So, ma'am, what are the various ways to tackle those things so that actually your target customer would see those advertisements?
So all the other things that I spoke about are the things that's going to help you solve for that problem. So if you have an interesting point of view, you will grab attention, right? If you have something that's based truly on somebody's usage, a dollar shave, because it is telling you something that's meaningful for that person, will grab attention, yeah? So those are the other things that you should really look at. If I am an Airbnb customer who's lived in an Airbnb home, then at the same time, if you're showing me an Airbnb experience product, I will be attracted to it. Yeah? So use the context, come with an opinion, and talk to that person. You will grab attention. You have to think on those lines, and then you'll be able to fight the attention battle.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Right at the center. Today, my question for you is that there was an era when advertisement used to be on the jingles or the songs so that people could remember the brand. Then came the era of stories so that people can relate to it. So my question for you is, what could be the next thing which could attract people?
So firstly, I don't think jingles are out. Yeah, so a lot of brands are still using a song. Yeah, a lot of brands are still coming with jingles. It's just that you remember the old jingles better because the clutter was lesser. It's just like when you play Antakshri, the songs that come to you are the old songs, right? So it's just that. So jingles are very much there. Stories were there earlier also, they'll be there now also, and they'll be there always because we remember stories more than we remember messages. So, yeah, so there is nothing like next era. Every era will exploit all these various things to create something interesting for their audience.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Thank you is the best prayer that everyone could say. So I, Shraddha Lende, deem it a great honor and privilege to vote of thanks on this BITM's 13th National Business Conclave. First and foremost, I would like to thank our eminent guest, Ms. Ekta Relan Ma'am, Executive Vice President and Planning Head, National-Mullen Lintas, who has guided us all with some interesting learnings, where we came to know 5 things to ponder the vowels of today's market. First is usage, second is innovation, third is opinion, and fourth is ecosystem. All these to seek attention to the market. All this will definitely help us in our future endeavors and would help us all to walk on trails of success. I once again take this opportunity to thank Ms. Ekta Relan Ma'am, who has shared her hard experience. Ma'am, we are looking forward for many more interactions with you on and off the campus. Thank you once again.